Let's talk about confidence, then we'll open up to Q&A. This is good stuff. Let's keep going with it.
Because listening to James Heath, he was asked about confidence, and I think you asked him about confidence and what affected his confidence, and he wasn't skating around the issue, but he made it very clear. He said, some days I just wasn't confident, and I played well.
Yeah,
I mean that's just massive, isn't it? He didn't feel he needed to do anything to make himself feel confident. And I remember you saying that the phrase of having that plastic psychology of trying to, was it fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
What's that all about? I mean, we've all done it. We've all been there, because that whole fake it till you make it thing. Feel really good. Think of good things. Feel strong. I mean, that might make you feel good, but it's not necessarily going to make you play well. And all you're really doing is tricking yourself. And your brain doesn't like being fooled, especially by you, by the way. It's not going to be easily fooled into that. And what you're actually doing when you're in that scenario and you're kind of fluffing yourself up and trying to make yourself feel confident is you're just really convincing yourself that you're not confident, and you don't feel equipped to deal with the anxieties and the pressures and the situation as it is, and the need to feel confident. It's just a way of escaping and trying to push all that aside, and it becomes a bit of a spiral. So you want to feel confident, you need to get good. You need to test yourself. So I had a client who came to me a while back now. He was a fairly high handicap. He was like a 20 handicap, and he said, he came to me for psychology sessions, and he was like, we had a good chat, the initial kind of assessment that you do, and eventually it came down to, he said, what I really want to get out of these sessions with you is I get really anxious about, in his words, scudding it off the first tee. Scudding it, like a heel top embarrassing thing. We've all done it. I said, right, okay, we can probably deal with that. I said, do you scud it off the first tee a lot? He says, yeah, man, all the time. It's so embarrassing. And, I don't want to invalidate that. That is embarrassing, isn't it? And then I said, do you scud it a lot on the practice range? He's like, yeah, man, all the time. I scud it all the time. And I'm like, well, do you not think maybe we should work on hitting it better before we work on your confidence? Because you're just going to get back on that too. And that's the whole thing with hypnotherapy. I can feel good, yeah, I can do it. And you probably could. The hypnotherapy can be brilliant. But you're going to feel really good until you just scud it along the floor. I mean, is it the anxiety that's causing you to, or your relationship anxiety that's causing you to do that, or do you just not have the skills? I mean, if you ask me to sing in front of anybody, one person, let alone 100 people, I am going to be anxious. Because, you know what, I can't sing. So you need to earn confidence. You need to be good, first of all. You need to learn how to take those skills and apply them in the setting. So that is the role of your performance psychologist, your mental help, is to help you take those skills and apply them under pressure.
I think, Noel, we've talked a lot about this. When I talked to you before about maybe plastic psychology, I couldn't agree more. The simple facts are, if you're technically a little inept, let's say pitching's poor, you have a whole load of movement off pivot points and blah, 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 you're probably not going to be that good at pitching. That's just... So again, going back to that, don't think about it and tell yourself it's going to be a positive outcome. Well, it will for the first shot, but you're guaranteed it's in there, and it won't take long before you start to duff it. And therefore, then you don't buy into that kind of line of thinking, and it becomes a problem. So this is, again, some of my issue with people that are totally externally driven or swing it natural, or I can't, if you're inept, you're inept. You've got to deal with that, surely. And I think Ted alluded to that as well. And I couldn't agree more with you there. I think anyone that claims, or a sports site that claims that they can get you hitting good golf shots just by thinking better, I'm afraid is nope.
I mean, you can move better with different thoughts. I mean, we know swing thoughts have different effects. We know that thinking about the ball typically is not a good idea. I mean, if you're staring at the ball, I mean, good players tend not to. I mean, most of the audience won't be staring at the ball with a full shot. If you're staring at the ball with the short game, let's say you're a bit anxious and you are staring at the ball, I could probably spot that a way off in your movement. I'm not a mind reader. I've just seen it enough with yippers. The one thing that yippers do have in common is everyone that's ever come to me with the yips, which is a lot, all stare at the ball and really think about the ball. And it affects your movement. And it would do the same in the full swing. I mean, I did a kind of anecdotal study. I wanted it to be my next scientific research, but I mean, 8 years was enough.
Enough's enough.
I actually had a professor in the States send me all this data. It was halfway done, but I was like, no. Anyway, but we started doing this anecdotal study. We asked around, and we asked some professionals about their ball focus, and the results were kind of as we predicted. Gary Player came back and he said, I don't look at the ball at all in any swing whatsoever, except for bunkers. I don't know what that is. I don't think about the ball on any swing except bunkers. Okay, that's, we kind of thought that. One pro, Sam Little said, you could change the colour of the ball in my backswing, I wouldn't even notice. And that's that's my experience of the ball as well. It's there, and I'm moving. The ball's not moving. I'm going to get back to it, and good players don't have the anxiety around strike doing. Not so much a big deal with the full swing with good players, but certainly with chipping and pitching, it can be. If you get into a yip scenario, be aware of where your attention is there. So, I mean, I'm totally with you in that. A psychologist isn't going to fluff you up and all of a sudden make you hit it 40 yards further. You need to learn those skills. You need to change your technique, and you need to do it over time. And you need to do the training, the S&T, and there's no way around that, is there? So exposure there, the third one down, exposure is such a powerful tool. I mean, to think of how one performs in the Ryder Cup is phenomenal with all that pressure. But these guys have had that progressive exposure. I mean, an ex-tour pro friend of mine would tell me that it would take him 3 times before he would manage to succeed at every given scenario. So the first tee on the European tour took him 3 times before he was like, okay, I can feel like I can do this now. 3 times before he was on the cut line and he broke through. 3 times playing in a major before he felt like I can actually bring my game to this. I'm not saying it's going to take everybody 3 times, but that level of exposure and being around it and putting yourself and testing yourself time and time again with that progressive element of exposure is massive. But if you haven't got the mental skills to deal with failure, if every failure you are taking personally and it's knocking you back, you are not going to get back up there the next day, are you? Potentially, again and again and again. So we need to be able to reflect and review effectively. Just on confidence, before we move to that final slide, this is what one of the world's greatest psychologists has to say. I mean, this guy has changed the face of psychology. He says, chasing the feelings of confidence is about the least confident thing you can do. And that's the idea that you're just telling yourself that you are not fit for this. You are not able to deal with this challenge without this kind of fake thing that you're doing. So, where do you stand with this, Greg? I know you do a lot of awareness work. You've talked about it a lot in webinars and reflection. I mean, do you encourage that a lot in your teams? Do you do it as an organised thing? Do you encourage it individually? How do you?
Yes, sir. I think to encourage the awareness, certainly one of the ones at national level is that on the online platform we use, that the players have to reflect. With some of the other squads I work with, they have to reflect on every practice session and just post it up, write it down. There's an argument about there's something in writing something down, isn't there? Absolutely. I also use a reflective assessment, a reflective inventory, which is just getting players to really start to think about when it's going well, what is it? And when it's not going well, what is it? So what kind of state are you in? What kind of mood? What did you eat? What was your sleep patterns like? What were your thought processes? Were you extroverted, introverted? Were you affected by your playing partners and not? What kind of inner chat was there? Just to try and work out the kind of DNA, just to encourage a self-awareness around, again, what is it that makes me tick and what is it that doesn't? And I think that's one of life's journeys, be it we all find, eventually you can never beat experience, or experiences, but we find out who we like to hang around with, what kind of friends we like, what films we like to watch, where we like to go, what we like to eat. so it's kind of the same. I feel in golf, you've just got to keep exploring. But I feel that humans were very blasé with, as you mentioned earlier, about the kind of negative bias we have. We're very blasé when we play well because we kind of expect it. I was reading a study just the other day that when you read through a school report, A, B, C, B, F, they ask you then, what did you focus on? Well, the F, of course. So it's just the way that we're neurally wired. But I think it's very important that you analyze what goes well, when it goes well, and vice versa when it's not. So, yeah, just become more mindful, ask yourself better questions, which I don't think many players do. And understandably, for a young person, when you're young, you're probably not that philosophical. As you get older a bit and get a few grey hairs, and you probably start to become a bit more reflective. But I think you and I talked about this the other day, Noel. To me, the art of a psychologist, when you're in it, particularly as a young player, when you're in it and doing it, you have that kind of swagger about you because what you touch is gold and you're fantastic and you're confident and there's a load of affirmation to suggest that you are great and everything's going really well. And it's not until you get a little bit older or later when things go wrong that you start to reflect. And I think the art, to me, what I would want from a psychologist or mind coach or performance coach, whatever you want to call them, performance psychologist, in my team would be to help players reflect much earlier. Now. Can you start to ask these questions? Can you help these young golfers start to work out what makes them tick and what doesn't make them tick earlier, so that can accelerate their development? That'd be, to me, what I'd be looking for. So, long-winded answer, absolutely. To me, reflection, as has been one of the common themes in these webinars, is huge.
That perspective and that ability to reflect is a relationship with your coach or psychologist or buddy, caddy, parent. It's not something that, a lot of these skills aren't something that people go to see a sports psych like they would do a swing coach in the old days. I want this magic fix. I'm feeling anxious. I'll give you 2 sessions, make me better. These are skills that we learn and we grow with and we play with, and they change and evolve. And, you need that kind of relationship.
I also wonder. No, you and I don't want to digress and get too self-indulgent here and move off topic too much. But I know you and I were talking about it the other day that I used to think, I'm a good coach. I don't understand why players are having lessons with someone that I just don't understand. They don't seem to care about coaching. They don't. It used to be quite hurtful, or you get sacked off. That always used to kill you. But now I just realised that it's the same as psychologists. It's some of it's personality, and some of it's you come into their life at the right time when they need you, and when they're susceptible to, and when they need this kind of information. And other times they don't, and they gravitate off and find someone else. And it's not personal. It's actually just human nature. It's life, isn't it? So that there is, so no matter how good a psych is or a golf coach is, that the student's got to be willing to learn.
Yeah.
And got to want it. Got to want it. Got to want to reflect. Otherwise, so somebody, 2 people have dropped out since we've been talking. Well, okay. You can take that really personally. Go,
Who are they? Who are they? I want to know.
I've written them down. I'll hunt them down, Noel. Don't you worry. But you can take that personally, or it's.
Hold on. Was it when you started speaking?
Yeah, of course. But that's I'm used to it. But on a serious note, they just, it's not for them at the moment. But they could listen to this recording in a year's time and go, oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Why didn't I?
Or they're watching the Tiger King.
Yeah, probably.
Which was good, by the way. Back to awareness and reflection. I mean, that idea of self-compassion, I think that's worth speaking about just before we bring this to a close. I mean, self-compassion is, is something that James Heath spoke about on his reflections as an older player. He's not old, is he? He's in his 30s, but with experience and ups and downs of playing the tour, he was able to look back with self-compassion. Now, self-compassion is just this idea of being kind to oneself. Nothing more than that. In the same way that you'd be kind to a buddy, speaking to yourself in that kind of that kind of idea of, it's not about saying I messed up, that's okay, because that totally invalidates you as a competitor. It's about saying, damn, I really messed up, and you know what, it's tough. It's really tough, and I didn't want to mess up, and I did, and I know it's difficult, and this is what I need to do better, and just kind of being a little bit lighter on oneself. And when you said to James at the end, you said, what is the one thing that you would do differently? He didn't use the word self-compassion, but he did say that. He said, I was lighter and easier on myself. And
kinder to myself, yeah.
As really good players and talented people that you all are, the trend is, and I know I was one once, we were, the trend is to want to really push yourself. I mean, and yeah, you do need to physically, and with your time, push yourself all the time. But equally, the feeling is that if I'm self-compassionate, if I give myself a break now and then, mentally, it's showing weakness, or I'm going to lose my motivation. And the research has shown that is not the case. It's not the case. You can be a brutally hard competitor and still reflect with self-compassion, and be kind, and just know that it's a tough thing that we do.
Yeah.
It is. And the other thing on reflection is having that observer perspective. If you are right there in the moment as a competitor, and all the feelings are raw, and very hard to reflect in any useful way. I mean, I don't mind sharing. I had a thought a couple of days ago that kind of really stuck with me in the morning. I should know better, but it's a skill. We evolve with it. And man, it had me in a bad mood. I couldn't get rid of it. I couldn't diffuse from it. And I went on a bike ride, and it was still with me. And I came back, and you know what? It just felt completely different. I came back 2 hours later from a bike ride, and it was like, wow, what was that even about? I mean, that was everything I was wound up about was just so far away now. It was still there, it was still annoying, but not to the level that I'd blown it up in my head. And that's the whole thing about this observer perspective, is having that kind of look kind of down on yourself, or from a different angle, and not being absolutely in the moment the whole time. And that's where a good coach, psychologist, friend can be really helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
If you've enjoyed this video, then please click subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date with more coaching information. And if you really want to take your game to the next level, then please visit my website, golfcoach.online, where you'll see there my subscription channel, which is Golf Coach Access, which is all about building a golf coaching and education community and having really structured long-term programs. And the best thing is you can get immediate free access.